So we'll start with the Association of Canadian Independent Travel Advisors. I'm not sure who the witness is. I don't have you on my list. Is it Miss Wilson?
Judith Coates.
Okay, Judith Coates. Go ahead. Yes, we've met before.
We have.
A number of us on Zoom. Go ahead, Judith. Welcome.
Nice to see you again, Honorable Chair, and also committee members. Thank you so much for inviting us to present today. We've provided a PDF of our presentation deck if you'd like to follow along with that. There are over 24,000 travel advisors in Canada, and half of us are independent travel advisors. And what that means is that we are small business owners, we're self-employed, and the majority of us are sole proprietors. The two key pieces of information that we want to give you at this point are that 100% of our revenue comes from commissions that we earn from our travel suppliers, and also 85% of all travel advisors are female. And we know that women have been the hardest hit in this pandemic, and our industry is no exception. We've been told that we're all in the same boat, but we don't believe that's true. We believe we're all in the same storm, but we're in many different boats. And we believe our boat is sinking much more rapidly than a lot of other boats out there. And part of that is because of our delayed revenue stream. We're not like an industry that sells a product and gets paid a commission check the following month. In our line of work, it takes between 5 and 11 months from when a customer makes a booking of a trip until we actually get paid for that work that we've done on that booking. So if we want to assume that travel restrictions would be lifted by the end of June, and if a client came and made a booking on July 1st, we will not receive any revenue for that booking and for the work that we've done until as early as mid-November of this year, or more realistically, as late as June of 2022. So our first reality is that we've been without revenue for 1 year, and we know it's going to take 5 to 11 months from the resumption of travel before we start to see any revenue from future bookings. So we are asking the government for sector-specific aid because we know that the CRB is not meant to be a long-term Band-Aid solution. There are other countries that are already on their second round of sector-specific aid for their travel advisors, and we believe Canada needs to follow suit. And here's another reality. Even though that we've been hindered from earning any revenue, we are business owners, and we've been continuing to operate our businesses, and we are as busy as ever because we are supporting our clients. When they needed to be repatriated to Canada, we were there to do that for them. When they needed assistance with their cancellations, we were there to help them. And as they've been issued their future travel vouchers, we've been processing those for them, and we are continually reworking those files. And as they've needed assistance with insurance claims, we've been busy providing that assistance. So although we have been quite active in our businesses, the reality is we are slipping through the cracks because other than the CRB, only a very small percentage of independent travel advisors have been able to receive any funding from the federal government. The CRB was designed to put food on our table and help us pay the rent, not pay our business expenses. There's another piece to our puzzle, and that is that we know that the airlines need financial assistance. They are the backbone of our travel economy, and we need them to be financially viable. We also support the option of consumer refunds. However, in November, when the former transport minister announced that airlines would not receive any bailouts unless consumers were given refunds, there was a huge trickle-down effect. WestJet and WestJet Vacations, then Transat and Transat Holidays, issued notices to us saying, your clients will not receive a refund until you pay back the commissions that you earned on those bookings. In some cases, those commissions were earned by us in 2019. They've already been taxed, and there's no way that we can pay them back, nor do we believe that we should be paying back those commissions because they were revenue earned for services that we provided to those large corporations. So we need assurances from the government that bailouts will only be given on the condition that travel advisors' commissions are protected. We're asking for the government to set up a fund in the amount of $200 million to to facilitate this. Until travel restrictions are lifted, confidence will remain low. And we believe that if the government is going to continue to impose these restrictions, aid must be given immediately to our sector. We're asking for your support for commission protection, first of all, to ensure that bailouts will only be given on the condition that our commissions are protected. Commission clawbacks are forcing many travel advisors into bankruptcy. The second thing that we're asking for is sector-specific aid for independent travel advisors to help keep our businesses afloat. Please ensure that our businesses and that we won't continue to fall through the cracks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Coates, and with you as to support you and back up in terms of questions is Brenda Slater, also a co-founder. I think people should understand this organization didn't exist not that long ago. And Nancy Wilson, Travel Advisor.
Next question is to Mrs. Coates. I have heard from my own constituents, the independent travel agents in my own riding of Vimy, time and time again that they feel that your sector is the forgotten sector. I truly would like to find a solution to help them because I think it's a great service that you offer, and it would really be a shame that the support that you need is not there. You mentioned in your testimony that one of the recommendations is for the government to start or to create a $200 million special fund for travel agents. Could you expand a little bit on that recommendation? What would you like to see in that program? How would it work if you've put any thoughts? Because I think it's an interesting suggestion if you could just share with us and expand a little bit on that.
Brenda's going to answer that question.
Hello there. Thank you very much for the question. We are told by ACTA, which is the Association for Canadian Travel Agencies, which is a little bit different than us, that there's $8.5 billion in future travel credits out there, which equals $200 million in commissions that are currently sitting either 15% of those right now have already back. So travel agencies and independent advisors have already paid those. But the following 85%, if those future travel credits get converted to refunds, they would also be clawed back from us. So we're asking for that fund to be set up so that initially advisors can go to the fund to apply for a refund for the 15% that have already been clawed back, and then moving forward that the airlines and their subsidiaries, their tour operator companies such as Air Canada Vacations, WestJet Vacations, would be able to go to that fund instead of coming back to us for refunds of the commissions.
Sorry, Annie, we're going to have to move to the next questioner, Mr. St. Marie, followed by Mr. Johns.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président. Donc, bon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to all of our witnesses. Thank you for your presentations. This is an especially interesting panel. Ms. Slater, Ms. Coates, Ms. Wilson, the situation that you and your colleagues find yourselves in is terrible. We certainly hope that the government will be able to find solutions for you. And by the way, the documents that you sent to us contain many solutions, so be reassured that you will be heard.
Last question, Gord.
Okay, Ms. Coates, your organization is a fairly new one. Thank you for the work you're doing, by the way, that's organized as a direct result of the pandemic. And I'm working with other organizations that are in similar situations, certainly startups that are being ignored and that have been abandoned, and sole proprietors such as that that have had difficult barriers to get access to programs. Can you talk about your communication with government and how responsive they've been to your needs and concerns?
Ms. Coates?
Thank you for that question. We have had many meetings with members of Parliament and senior policy advisors and a few ministers. We are not getting the answers that we would like. We're being told that we are, with regards to commission recalls, we're being told that we are being considered, but we aren't being told when that will happen or how we are being considered. So we're concerned and have a lot of anxiety that we are still going to be falling through those cracks.
Thank you all. Turning then to Ms. 5-minute rounds, Ms. Jansen, and then Mr. Fregaskatis.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to ask my questions to the independent travel advisors. First off, just the fact that so many of my colleagues have asked you questions is just a testament to the work that you have been doing on behalf of your members. Absolutely amazing, ladies. Good on ya. Now, you refer to sector-specific aid. What other countries are doing this?
I'll address that if I may.
Go ahead, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you for the question. So Australia is one of the countries that we have focused on, and they introduced a $128 million aid package that was specifically targeted for travel advisors and tour arrangement service providers back in December, after it became apparent that to their government that the sector was in crisis, exactly as we are. So Australia has been refunding their customers for trips canceled due to COVID, and their government recognized this need for support due to the practice of commission recalls from airlines and travel suppliers. As they've worked through this process, they realized the scope of refunds was wider than initially believed. So they've allocated an additional $130 million in a second round of the program. So this type of funding is something that we feel is going to be critical for all travel advisors across the country should consumer refunds go ahead as expected. And if our request that stipulation to be added to an airline bailout package for travel advisor commissions be protected is not met.
Okay. Now, why do you say that you're not able to access any federal funding for small business? I mean, my goodness, we've got CEBA, we got HASCAP, we got Regional Recovery Relief Fund. This makes no sense to me. These were all supposed to be worked out on your behalf. Like that was the point of these, and yet you say you can't actually access them?
That's correct, and I'll address that. With the CEBA loan, one of the hurdles for us and roadblocks is that you have to have $40,000 minimum non-deferrable expenses. As sole proprietors, we don't meet that benchmark, and so we are precluded from that fund. Then they introduced the Regional Recovery Relief Fund, which was designed for small businesses that are falling through the cracks. But what we discovered is if you are in a rural area, you can apply through your CDC office for that fund, and you are able to get the funding. But if you are in an urban area, it gets redirected to FedDev, and you have to be incorporated for that. So we have half of our members that are not able to access that. We actually met with some of this Assistant Deputy Ministers of Small Business and Innovation and Development earlier this month, and they kept saying to us, well, you should be taking advantage of the HASCAP loan. Like, it's great. It's like up whatever the amount is at 4%. It's a wonderful loan. And our response was, we've been 1 year without revenue. How do you expect us to pay loan payments on a 4% loan? That does not make sense for us to be going into more debt. We're already in debt as it is, up to our eyeballs.
Yeah, and not only that, at 4%. Oh my goodness, everybody knows we can't even afford that for the government. I have a question. Ms. Freeland, she announced on, I believe it was Women's Day, that there's this fantastic task force on women in the economy. Have you heard of this task force?
I would like to answer that one if I may.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm a little confused. There's a task force for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, we're not aware of that. Sorry, I'm a little bit thrown. We're not aware of that, and we actually met with her senior policy advisor on Tuesday. So, and nothing was said about that at that time either. So we would be very interested in learning more about this.
Wow, that's crazy. You guys have been such warriors, and yet you are not even aware of this task force. I know I thought it was a bit of lip service because she announced it on the Women's Day, and then she hadn't even had a meeting yet. And this has been going on for months and months.
Just last question, Tamara.
Okay. Can you give specifics on how travel restrictions are impacting your business?
Yes. Well, it's because the government is imposing travel restrictions that we are being hindered from operating our business. And so we believe that the government, because they're the ones imposing the restrictions, they need to step in, provide support to us while they continue to keep our businesses shut down.
Wow. I agree.
Okay, we will.
Ms. Coates, I
Okay.
think you had something.
Yes, Ms. Coates, I think you wanted to add in something there.
Thank you. We need the government to restore hope to Canadians. And we need the government also to work towards restoring the travel industry and a recovery of the travel industry. And what we are seeing is the opposite. There was just a campaign that went out onto social media saying, stay home, stay in Canada, stay safe. And the caption above it said, now is not the time to book travel. And here we are, we've already been locked down for a year without being able to book travel for our clients who want to travel. And they're wanting to travel in 2022, 2023, but the government is telling them now is not the time to book travel. So we need that to be turned around, and we need the government to work on the recovery of travel and tourism. And we would like a seat at that table. We believe travel advisors have an important voice. We understand the culture, and so we want to have a seat at that table.
To all of you and your answers to that question, but and we will have to end the panel here. As you can see, there's many complex issues for sure, and just relating to some of Gord John's remarks, the difference to being in Ottawa and being in the riding is people walk through these doors and they're in tears. It's that simple. And so, although we talk about dollars and cents and budgets and so on, at the end of the day, there's real lives that matter. So I do want to thank you all for your presentations today, and